Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Speaking of Zane, August the 1st. Welcome to August. How about that? Snuck up on us, didn't it? This is the 155th edition of Speaking of Zane. 155 times, or 155 weeks, we've gotten together to speak his name and lots of other stuff. Um, so good to have everybody in here. We've got Lori and a Facebook user, which is probably Jim Miller, maybe. Got my Aunt Cindy there. She's watching. Got Daryl up near St. Louis. Good to have you in there, Daryl. Happy Sunday to you. But so good to have everybody in here for the 155th edition of Speaking of Zane. We've got some normal updates and activities going on here at the wonderful McDonald Estate and Insane Asylum. There's Matt Aaron. Hey Matt, how you doing, buddy? Looked like you guys were out and about on a picnic or hiking or something this weekend. Nice pics. All right, let's see what we got here. What have we been up to? Hey Toby, how you doing? How was the ball game? I know it was a loss, but I hope you guys had a good time there. Toby was up here with his little nephew and some friends for the Braves game this afternoon against Milwaukee. Okay, well, how far away is that, Matt, for you guys to take an excursion to the family cabin? It must be nice to have a family cabin. It's good stuff. There's Ken down in, let's see, are you in Kissimmee, Ken? I know you guys are relocating again from Punta Gorda while you still wait for your house to get completed there. I know it's a pain in the butt, but it'll certainly be worth it when your new house is ready to be occupied, I'm sure. Hello, Brenda Lusk up in Michigan. Good, glad you had a good time there, Toby. The weather wasn't too bad. It wasn't too humid today here in the Atlanta metro. Not too bad at all. 2.5 hours, Matt says. Well, that's not bad. That's just far enough and just close enough. That's probably just about right. Hello, Katie. How are you? Oh, great. I'm going to add those two thank yous when we get down to the Thank a Vet challenge. Great. Good to see that. We are creeping closer and closer to a big what's the word I'm looking for? Um, Milestone. Yeah, milestone. That'll work. All right. I think I have everybody acknowledged. If you're there and want us to know you're with us, put something in the chat and we'll say hello to you. I know we have a lot of people that join and watch Speaking of Zane that don't always put anything in the chat, but I know you're watching. And I know a lot of people go back and watch the recording either on Facebook or on YouTube, so thank you for doing that. But sure is glad to have everybody in here tonight. Toby got a Hank Aaron bobblehead. Yeah, it was Hank Aaron week at the ballpark here. Hank Aaron passed away last year, or was it earlier this year? But certainly an Atlanta Braves legend, no doubt about that. Well, I'm glad you guys got to go to the ball game. Toby, good to see you earlier this week under less than ideal circumstances. More about that in a minute. Well, hello there, Doc. Good to have you in there. Thanks for stopping by and saying hello. And looking forward one day to sitting down with you and having a nice refreshment. Who knows when that'll be, but I'm looking forward to it. All right, well, let's see what we got here. Mentioned last Sunday night about the passing of my uncle, my dad's oldest brother, Bob, who, when his father Joe, my dad's father, passed away, my dad was but 11 or 12 years old, but Uncle Bob was already in the Army, and he was stationed in Germany when his father passed. And there's a whole story about getting back home for that and everything. And we got to hear a little bit about that at the funeral. And but anyway, my Uncle Bob really took over as the patriarch of the family when their father passed, and was from that point forward, I mean, really the father figure for all of his siblings, Jack, Arthur, my dad, Aunt Betty, and Aunt Mary. And just it's just sad to lose somebody like that who's been such a staple in your life, all these years. He was 84 years old, but he didn't look it and didn't act it. And it was a great, funeral celebration of his life, and very interesting. His daughter Kathy messaged me during the week last week and asked me if I would be a pallbearer and if I would say a few words at the service. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. I'll be honored to do that. And so as the week went on, his obituary was published online and everything, and I got to see the obituary, and the obituary said that the service would be officiated by Guy McDonald, Guy McDonald Jr., that's me, and Robert McDonald Jr., Uncle Bob's son. And I'm like, okay, I better call my dad and find out what officiated means. And so I texted my dad and said, hey, Dad, I just read the announcement, the obituary. I said, is there something I need to know? And he said, can I call you? He texted me, can I call you? I'm like, yes, please. So he set me at ease. Anyway, my dad really officiated the service, and I think that's exactly what Uncle Bob would have wanted. And the family wanted me and Uncle Bob's oldest son, Robert, to be a part of the service, and we did, and it was awesome. It was great to speak about him, and I was first up. Actually, my dad sort of opened the service up with a prayer and everything, and then I was up, and then Robert, and then my dad, and then one of the real reasons I think, that my dad wanted me to be part of that and everything. What we did was something very special. My Uncle Bob, he lost his first wife, Betty. Gosh, I don't know how long it's been now, Lori. 20 plus years ago, and he remarried. So he has two families, and actually, my cousin Robert put it very well. He's really had three families that he's led. He led, the family I mentioned of all of his siblings. He became the leader of that family, and then he became, the head of the family with Betty Joyce and all the kids. And then when he remarried the second Betty, he raised another little boy and headed up that family. So a lot of people got to be the beneficiary of this man's leadership and love. And anyway, so consequently, what they wanted to do was they had coordinated for full military honors at the graveside, and that meant a military pallbearers, so 6 that would carry the casket from the hearse to the gravesite, and a bugler, and then 3 of the 6, after placing the casket, did the 21 gun salute. So and then one of the airmen, handed the folded flag to Betty, his second wife. So what they had decided to do, since he had two, the two families, they decided at the funeral service that we would take the American flag off the casket in the funeral home there, and we would fold it and present it to the oldest son, Robert. So, um, and I'm finding this out the night before, and I've never folded a flag like that on purpose. I mean, so I was YouTubing, making sure I had the right fold, and there's a open side, closed side, and all that. Anyway, we did okay, but while we were folding the American flag, my dad held the blue field with the stars, and I folded the stripes, and um, the Air Force song played while we were folding, which was great. And then once we folded and got everything tucked in, I handed it to my dad, and he received the flag, and then I rendered a slow salute, and then he went and presented the flag to Robert, the oldest son. So anyway, everybody, I think it was a great way to do it, so that both families were the recipient of a folded flag. So um, yeah, I was just honored to be a part, just to play a part. I feel fortunate to live close enough, and all of that, and so and got to see all my aunts and cousins and everything, which was great. Um, and then Lori and I drove on back home, and stopped by Buc-ee's on the way home and had a barbecue sandwich. Hello, Aunt Mary. Aunt Mary's there. I got to see Aunt Mary as well while I was there. But yeah, so it's sad, it's always sad, but he lived 84 years, a very full and productive and respected life. I mean, I don't know how you argue with that. I mean, I know his family misses him to death. I feel blessed that I still have both my parents, but I know none of us are going to live forever. And I feel terrible for Robert, Joyce, and Kathy, and Joe. But he certainly lived a full and very respected and productive life. But all right. Okay, well, let's see what else have we got going. We did that on Monday, and then Wednesday, I mentioned a couple weeks ago, might have mentioned last week, there was a sort of a traveling tribute in town, and the Eyes of Freedom motorcade, Eyes of Freedom. It's the Eyes of Freedom display. And anyway, this Marine who was with a unit that lost a significant amount of Marines in Iraq, 2005 or six. I can't remember the whole story, but anyway, he's dedicated his life to honoring his fellow Marines, and he travels all around the country with this display. Um, just very nice portraits of the men by an artist, and just a lot. It's just an amazing thing that a fellow Marine would honor his Marines that way, forever. And anyway, I got to see them I was running late. I couldn't make it all the way over to Semper Fi where they gathered, but I ran over real quick to the community center here in town and got to see the motorcade. There was the Patriot Guard riders and a VFW motorcycle group, and just a bunch of veterans there. And I got to say hello to, I got to thank one of them. I didn't jump in the middle of everything as they were unloading, but anyway, that came through. And then yesterday, we had an awesome time yesterday morning. We did the Running to Honor 5K. That's our second year in a row. If you remember, that's the 5K race that our friend Aaron Bartles up in Michigan, who we got turned on to by Matt and Katie Aaron. He does this 5K every year up there in Michigan to honor the fallen. And last year, because of COVID, he decided to have a virtual, it was virtual. And that's how we got involved. And many of you were participating with us. It was last September, I think, a little bit cooler, but we did it yesterday, July 31st. And we did it at 9 in the morning, so it wasn't that bad, actually. It wasn't that humid yet. It wasn't that hot. Most of that trail is shaded. But we did the 5K, and Lori made it the whole way out, a mile and a half out, a mile and a half back. And then we got to hang out with our friends, Kathy and Gordon and David and, oh gosh, Cynthia and some others. I think we had 12, Kathy's daughter Brittany and her husband Paul. We had 12 if you count the two, Kathy's two little grandkids. So we had a pretty good Atlanta contingent. And I know there's some others that are still going to be participating. My dad and my sister will be participating down there in Fitzgerald. And let's see, one of my coworkers' sons is going to be running up here. And then some others scattered around the country. I've lost track of everybody. Ken ran this morning in honor of Zane. So thank you for that, Ken. But we had a good time. The next one, you remember last year we did the Veterans Day. We did a Veterans Day 5K in November. Is that when Veterans Day is? Yeah, November. And it's my company is a sponsor of this Veterans Day 5K, which is run out of St. Louis. And because of COVID last year, they did a virtual thing, so people ran from all over the country. But this year, I don't think they're doing a virtual one. I don't know. But anyway, we might make our own, I guess, for Veterans Day or become part of one around here. So that'll be the next thing we do. Last year, Lori and I did a Veterans Day 5K on our own. We did it at the cemetery. We did two laps, got us the 5K, 2 laps of the cemetery, which was very neat. It was cold and wet. It rained on us the whole time, didn't it, Lord? Drizzled anyway. But anyway, so we'll probably do something for Veterans Day. If it's not with that St. Louis group, we'll figure something else out. Not that we're big runners or walkers, but it just seems like a cool thing to do. Anyway, so the Veterans Day or the running to honor, Aaron does things up really nice, and here's the finishers medal from this year. Very nice running to honor. It's you can see the beach of Normandy there. It's just sort of this year was all about World War II. See that. So that's very nice. And Aaron sent along a challenge coin as well. It's really more of a belt buckle like thing than it is a coin, but I'll show you if it'll focus. I don't know if it's going to focus for you there, but it's got the beach of Normandy, and I really can't tell. It's hard to tell because of the shininess, but thank you, Aaron, for that. I appreciate it. Yeah, Lori says our friend Connie Holland down in Savannah, she also ran in honor of Zane and all those that have fallen on or off the battlefield, on or off the battlefield. And anyway, we finished. So when we finished the run yesterday, we sat down and just chilled out there in Woodstock. It was a beautiful morning, and then about noontime, we met up with some others, Kathy and Gordon, and her father, Ed Burke, who used to fly B-29s. He was a gunner on B-29s. We met them at Semper Fi Bar and Grill, had some lunch there, and that was fun. Okay, I'm talking a lot about airplanes today. Let's see, or a lot about, anyway, I don't know what I'm talking about. But speaking of airplanes, our son Jackson hit another milestone yesterday in his pursuit for professional pilot's license. He flew his first cross-country flight yesterday. That's a flight where you have to go away from your home field, and you have to do mission planning. You have to plot your course and do all the navigation and all the things around that. And he completed his first one yesterday. They went from Kennesaw over to Athens, Georgia. He got a nice shot of the Sanford Field there, and yeah, it was kind of cool. So good for Jackson. He's moving forward on that. All right, let's see. And so, because of Jack's cross country, because this week I was watching Air Venture from Oshkosh all week on my big screen here while I worked. I keep, me and my buddies keep saying we're going to go to Oshkosh every year, and we have not made it yet. We have not made it. But we're going sometime. I hope next year. But you got to start planning a year ahead, over a year ahead, if you want a place to stay. Anyway, so I've been watching that all week, and just because I love airplanes, this is the hat of the week. This is the hat of the week. I didn't have any other reason to wear a different hat, so this is the hat of the week. That's the enlisted aircrew wings for the Air Force, and that's a hat. I haven't worn this hat in a while. That's my hat. Hat from Spud McClure. Spud, you may recall, he stops in every now and then. He was a Delta captain. He was a tanker pilot in the Air Force, and then a Delta captain. Took early retirement last year. Him and his wife moved from Michigan out to Colorado. But they have this ball cap company. Anyway, that's where I got it. So that is the hat of the week. Is the aircrew wings. Okay, let's move on. So I did not get a chance to pull a This Week in Military History. I have failed you 2 weeks in a row on that, but if you want to know, Google it. But I missed a couple weeks on that. I just ran out of time. I have a few things going on. So that moves us to the Veteran Cemetery Challenge. And I'm counting, so this is interesting. So Daryl, I know, made a visit. Hey, Daryl. I know Daryl made a visit this week. Daryl actually got an opportunity to do a good deed on his way to the cemetery, didn't you, Daryl? I can't remember the circumstances, but somebody else that he knows was on their way to Jefferson Barracks for a funeral, and a car broke down or something, Daryl. I don't remember exactly. And Daryl went and grabbed them real quick, made sure they got where they needed to go and everything. Of course, while he was out there, he paid a visit to his wife. But interesting story, Daryl. Good job. And then, of course, we were at the Evergreen Cemetery. Evergreen Cemetery. Now, there's a little bit of a history with Evergreen Cemetery that I don't know all about. All I know is, now this is in my mom and dad's hometown of Fitzgerald. And I need to do a little more research, and we didn't have time while we were there Monday. But I'm going to count every member that's a part of Speaking of Zane. I'm going to count that as a visit to Evergreen. So Evergreen Cemetery in Fitzgerald becomes a new one for us. So that takes our total cemeteries up to 136. And then the visits, I'm going to count everyone that's a member of Speaking of Zane. I'm going to count as a visit. So that means me, Lori, my dad, my sister, Aunt Mary, Toby, Aunt Betty, Cindy, Harley, and Kathy. Kathy, Uncle Bob's daughter. So if you add that to Daryl's visit, then that's 11 visits this week. So we're up to 455 visits. 455 visits. That we have made, and I like that. I'm going to have to do some more research on that cemetery and make sure that there's something, there's some history there that I don't know that I'm interested in finding out. But if it's interesting enough, I'll pass it on to you guys and let you know. All right, on to the Thank a Vet Challenge, where we're trying to achieve a milestone here sometime before the summer's out. The Thank a Vet Challenge. Well, let me run through the list that I know about. Let's see, Katie, what did you say? Who was it that said, let me scroll back through here because I'm going to add this one right now. Katie said they thanked two. Okay, so I'm going to add that right now, Katie. So the Aarons had 2, okay, which makes, let me do my totals here. All right, so the Aarons had 2. Ken thanked the Vietnam vet who was an F-4 pilot. How about that? Retired F-4 pilot. Well, I tell you what, Ken, I can sit and talk to a guy like that all day. I don't know about you, but I could. Then Ken also had the opportunity to thank a Navy vet and a Marine Corps vet, both at Sam's this past week. Then my dad posted that he thanked a Marine Corps vet actually at the funeral. And then I thanked a vet at the Eyes of Freedom motorcade. And then Lori thanked 3 Woodstock police officers yesterday morning. We were down at they have a farmer's market there at the head of the trail. And Lori thanked 3 Woodstock police officers. And then I thanked a gentleman, I don't remember what branch he was in, but he was shuffling out with his daughter, his wife and his daughter, looked like daughter, maybe granddaughter, at Simplify Bar and Grill, and told him thank you. So if my totals are right, that was 11 for the week, which takes us up to 939. 939, which means we need what, 61? 61 to get to 1,000. If we keep going at this 10 and 11 a week, we're doing okay, I think. We are doing okay. So 939 thank yous. Okay, no new organizations to report. Remember, we like to talk about these organizations that do good work for the military, for their families, for veterans. And anytime I hear about an organization that's doing good work, I want to tell people about it. And we often talk about those here, even ones maybe that we're not connected with or affiliated with, but we hear about. So if you guys hear of any that you want to share about, let me know. But nothing new to report on that this week. We did have a loss this week. Unfortunately, I just read about this today. In fact, it happened sometime last week. But there was an airman at Keesler Air Force Base down in Biloxi, Mississippi, that was he was hit and killed by an impaired driver on the base, actually. The driver was under the influence of some substance or something. Anyway, he ran into Airman Daniel Germanes, and unfortunately killed him. Sad, for sure. Well, let's see. I did get a chance, a few minutes anyway, to look back, and I haven't done this in quite some time, look back in Zane's Facebook group for any nuggets that we haven't discovered or have forgotten about. And I found one today that was really interesting. I'll share the screen here and you can see it. Okay, let's see which screen right here. So I was just scrolling through on July, August of 2015, and I found this, and it's actually a link. You can't see it right here, but it was a YouTube link of Stevie Ray Vaughan singing "Leave My Little Girl Alone." I don't know if you guys know who Stevie Ray Vaughan is, but it was Zane's guitar idol. And anyway, this is what he posted. He says, "My dad showed me this concert on DVD when I was around 12 years old, and it literally changed my life forever. I'm no musical genius, but when I pick up my guitar, I scream the blues. Thanks, Dad." So it's the first time I've ever seen that. I don't even remember seeing that in 2015. So that was new to me just by going back and looking at his Facebook page. But I'm not surprised. He was a big Stevie Ray fan and just got so much of his style, um, from uh, that type of music, and he really idolized that, and would watch those. I had a lot of Stevie Ray Vaughan stuff on DVD. This is before YouTube and stuff, and so he was just learning to play guitar when he was 11, 12, 13 years old. To see him post that, all those years later, um, just brought a smile on my face. All right. Well, let's see. What do we got going this week? Regular work week, I think. Maybe forgetting something. I think Lori is going, not this week, next week. I think Lori is going up to see her friend Karen in Chicago over her birthday. August 11th. August 11th is her birthday. Um, so let's see. I think she'll be here. She'll be here next weekend. But something I'm waiting to hear from Aaron. Speaking of running to honor, um, Aaron's got the big poster board of Zane that they place out, to remember that he had them made, and he wants to give it to us, and but he didn't want to ship it. But he's going to be coming down to, I think he's coming down on vacation to Pigeon Forge or Gatlinburg or something, and he asked if I could come up that way and maybe meet somewhere in the middle. He wants to give the poster of Zane that they put out for the races and stuff. He wants to give us, and I think it's over next weekend. Um, so we might be making a run up to Chattanooga or something on Saturday. I don't know yet. I'm waiting to hear from Aaron on that, but we'll see. All right. Well, that is all that's going on here at the fabulous McDonald Estate and Insane Asylum. And don't forget, when you're out and about this week, if you see a veteran or a service member, tell them thanks, because the chance is not many people are. And I don't think you can say it enough. I mean, somebody that serves the country, they're basically, in exchange for the great things that you get out of it, they're given a portion of their life. They're basically giving Uncle Sam a period of their life and saying, "Yeah, I'm do whatever you say." Um, so that's worthy of saying thank you for. So I know I don't have to tell you guys, but yeah, just be aware as you're out and about. And check on your friends, check on your buddies. Don't take anything for granted. We don't know what people are going through. I'm preaching to myself on this. You don't know what people are going through. Give them some slack. Check on your buddies and find out, make sure they're okay. They don't always tell the truth. People don't always tell when they're going through something tough. But, all that somebody might need to say, hey, that's just going to be all right, is to know that somebody cares, somebody else gives a damn about them, and all you got to do is call and check on somebody for them to know that somebody cares. Somebody cares. I care. All right. Well, that's all I've got tonight for Speaking of Zane. I wish I had some more awesome stuff, but that's it for tonight. I'm working on some guests, though. I'm working on some guests. I know you guys would like to hear some guests on the show and give me a chance to take a break. I know I tell my students at work, I bring in guests for them to interact with. And I said, man, they're getting tired of hearing from me. But anyway, all right. Well, have a great week, everybody. Ken, same to you, my friend. And we'll look forward to seeing everybody again next Sunday night. Hey, we don't know what's going to happen between now and then, and but we'll talk about it next Sunday night on Speaking of Zane, that's for sure. Everybody have a great week. We appreciate you.